Is this thing on? Welcome back to Movies TV Man. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man. And welcome to Saturday's edition of the dceu Daily. As we get closer to the AT&T Discovery merger, more rumours are going to be coming out. And as fans, we have to be balanced and not reactive and kind of work out what's bullshit and what's true. Not because it rings our bells and it's something we want to believe and it's something we've been praying for such a long time that we just accept it. So something has been leaked on Reddit about Discovery's plans and what they're going to do. Now, I am going to read it out to you, but I want you to understand 50% of me thinks this could be bullshit. 50% of me thinks this could be true. I hope it's true. I really, really do. So let's give it a read. Warner Brothers Discovery Motion Pictures will compromise the company's film production labels, including Warner Brothers Pictures, New Line Cinema, Warner Animation Group, DC Studios. Among others, the division will be led by Emma Watts, replacing WB Pictures chairman Toby Emmerich. She will report directly to Zaslav. No. Films will now be released under a different label, depending on the film, instead of, for example, New Line's films being released through Warner Brothers, similar to Disney and Sony releasing films under different labels. So, what do you think? This sounds awesome. It sounds exciting. It's exactly what we've been talking about on this very channel. This would be a dream come true. So, first of all, let's ask, who is Emma Watts? Emma Watts recently left Paramount in a CEO role. I think that's the role she was in. So, I mean, they could have easily plucked her name out and made this bullshit up. But she's very good. She would be a great head. So, very interesting. So, let's just go through this again, piece by piece. So, first of all, they talk about something which means Warner Brothers Discovery Motion Pictures. So that's the kind of title I was talking about. Warner Brothers Discovery Motion Pictures instead of Warner Brothers Pictures. Why does this matter? Because motion picture is the old term. David Zaslav has spoken about going back to the old Warner Brothers. This will be a studio that makes a variety of content. It won't just be superhero. It won't just be blockbusters. It will be lots of different arty stuff, indie stuff. It's going to be there's going to be a lot of variety. That's exciting. So I love this name, Warner Brothers Discovery Motion Pictures. So I like that name. So let's just pretend this is true, because we don't know, right? I'm not in the habit of getting people's hopes up on bullshit, but let's pretend this is going to happen. Right. So I like the name. Will compromise the company's film production labels, including Warner Brothers Pictures, New Line Cinema, Warner Animation Group, DC Studios, among others. Now, this division will be led by Emma Watts. So she's going to be in charge of everything. So it looks like what they're going to do, everything will have its own label. Right, but it'll all be under the banner of Warner Brothers Discovery Motion Pictures, but what you would need to do then is have a president of DC Studios, a president of New Line Cinema. I think New Line Cinema may already have someone running it, must do. And then you'll have a Warner Animation Group, etc. So DC Studios is something that we've wanted for a very, very long time. Now, here's the thing. It's all very well calling something DC Studios, but if it isn't run by someone competent, there's not much point, is there? So this would be amazing, but you need the right person to lead it. So who's the best person to run a DC Studios? Now, I've named Bruce Timm. I think he would be perfect, but is he I think you need to be a bean counter as well as someone who kind of would do a really good creative job, and Bruce really would. They may go for someone kind of vibrant. They may bring someone creative who understands DC and a bean counter to work with that person. I would be absolutely fine with that. But you do need a DC president, heading DC Studios that understands DC. But that's not the only important thing. It's all very well understanding DC, but you've got to understand what makes good television and good superhero film. And so you have to understand that, and it just can't be for one audience or the other audience. This DC Studios must have a variety in it that appeals to all DC fans. We need to stop disqualifying certain people just because, it's this, that, or the other. So we want a central universe DC franchise. We want a universe like Matt Reeves' universe. We want a universe like Zack Snyder's Snyderverse and more. And obviously, the animation is very important. I mean, DC animation is much better than Marvel animation, and Marvel Studios have only just started an animations department at Marvel Studios. So in those terms, Feige and Marvel are behind DC, which is very interesting, isn't it? But anyway, and so Emma Watts will report directly to David Zaslav, who will be the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery Motion Pictures. Of course, we don't know if any of this information is true, but we're acting like it is. And so that's good as well. So he's going to be on top of this. I said before, people were saying, yes, he's a CEO. He doesn't get his hands dirty with the day-to-day running of a studio. This CEO will. Because when you need to fundamentally change something, especially something you've just bought or merged with, you have to be very hands-on. This guy moved to Hollywood. He's engaged in relationships. When Warner Discovery becomes a thing, this studio changes forever. So the people who didn't want to work with WB, like Ray Fisher, Christopher Nolan, it's fresh. They can't have any issues with this person. And this is why this is why I think that Toby Emmerich will be removed, and this is what it says here. So, led by Emma Watts, replacing WB Pictures chairman Toby Emmerich. Now, the removal of Emmerich is very, very important. Again, we need to halt our excitement because we don't know if any of this is true. But it's very important he goes. Because if he goes, nothing is certain anymore. What's going on in the DCEU, the films that are being made and have been completed, ready for release, they're not certain anymore. Everything changes. The direction changes. So I don't know what they would do with the stuff that they've been planning. Because as we've discussed before, Emmerich and WB Pictures have been greenlighting, hoping for the best, so that they had so much content, Discovery couldn't do anything about it. And if you notice, there's quite a few Twitter accounts that kind of started at the same time around October of last year. We've got My Time to Shine, that apparently is an accurate scooper. I don't know about that, but that's what I'm told. And then there's this DC account that started at the same time as My Time to Shine. She quote tweeted them yesterday when they asked us if we're excited for The Flash, and she said no. I believe that all these new accounts are from the same person who runs My Time to Shine. This is very interesting. Because, it's interesting how My Time to Shine quote tweeted this account. So there's a few accounts now asking if we're excited about The Flash or saying they're excited about The Flash. These are new accounts with a very small following. I think something dubious is going on here. Emmerich and Warner Brothers Pictures, the current Warner Brothers Pictures, could be behind this. So watch yourself with those accounts and be careful on what they say. I am very suspicious about them, and I am looking into them as we speak. So that's something to look out for in the future. Warner Brothers Pictures and Toby Emmerich and Ann Sarnoff are the people who, let's just say, allegedly leaked a little clip from the Snyder Cut. All of a sudden, you thought you were watching Tom and Jerry or whatever it was. All of a sudden, there was a clip from the Snyder Cut. Because if we go back to the beginning of this situation, as I've explained to you before, Warner Brothers Pictures did not greenlight the Snyder Cut. John Stankey and AT&T did. They directly gave Zack the $70 million to put the movie together and finish it so it was fit for release. They went above WB Pictures' heads. And Toby Emmerich and Sarnoff and Hamada did not like this, and it became toxic. And then you had Emmerich telling Zach to release the black and white rough cut of the Snyder Cut on his phone. Zach was smart. Then Zach and Ray Fisher were coming out with a lot of stuff. It's now my belief. Now, I don't remember if the merger was actually announced when we were waiting for the Snyder Cut to release, but it's my belief now that all the stuff Ray Fisher and Zack Snyder were saying about what was going on at WB Pictures was done purposely. I believe Ray Fisher incited an investigation on purpose because he knew they would hang themselves out to dry. And this would all be in the earshot of Discovery seeing how toxic Warner Brothers Pictures are. I believe this was Ray's and Zack's tactics from the very, very beginning. So Emmerich going, if he does go, well, it's so vital and so important because basically, if you get rid of Emmerich, it's like you line up the dominoes, right, and you push them down and they all fall down. You know, this is a house of cards. Let's be fucking clear here. Emmerich has done a fucking terrible job as, you know, leader of Warner Brothers Pictures. Yes, he's had some victories. Whoopee-doo. But it's all about Justice League to me. When you release a film of that condition, when you take somebody else's movie, destroy it, break it down, and put bright colours in it, and smiles, and hack to death Superman's upper fucking lip, and you release it, and you insult your public, you think we're too stupid to notice that that wasn't Zack's movie. This was, as I said before, the biggest, the most embarrassing situation in Warner Brothers history, and Warner Brothers has, everyone has a proud history, and David Zaslav wants to bring that history back. So I hope this is true. I think about 75% of me now thinks it's true, and the rest of the percent, whatever it is, because I'm not good at maths, sorry about that, don't take the piss, thinks it's fake. But yeah, most of me thinks this is probably true, but we need to be careful here because we don't want to get people's hopes up, or we don't want to say things that are not true. That's why I'm telling you, I don't know for a fact if this is true or false. You know, I don't have contacts in business. I have contacts within the industry, so it's very difficult to ascertain what Discovery's plans are. I've explained to you before, it could be, you know, business as usual, Toby, or it could be, oi, you lot, out. You know, now I think it will be the latter. I hope so at least. So this makes sense. You know, everything I'm reading here is very intelligent decision making. So as I say, Emma Watts recently resigned her very important position, I can't remember what that position was, as one of the leaders at Paramount Pictures. So Emma Watts is a very, very respected person in the industry, and I think she would do a super job. So she's very, very important. So if Zaslav has gone to her, it just shows you how he's gone to Hollywood. He's asked for advice. Who do you think? You see, Zaslav just hasn't gone in there and made these decisions. He's been very thoughtful about these decisions. But I take you to the middle of last year when it was rumored on the internet that Toby Emmerich went to Netflix asking for a position. Netflix, of course, said no. Ironically, Zack Snyder has now got a big exclusive deal over at Netflix. So, you know, that would have been a very uncomfortable situation, especially if Toby became Zack's boss, which is something that would have been an absolute disaster. It was never going to happen. I'm sure Zack would have explained to Netflix, even before Toby allegedly tried to get a job there, what kind of person they were dealing with. Of course, Ann Sarnoff lied, or allegedly lied, and said she's very happy with Toby Emmerich. But the point is, the issue wasn't with you, Ann, was it? Toby's looking for another job because he knows he's going to be removed from Zaslav and Discovery, by Zaslav and Discovery. So those rumours were obviously true. So since 2017, since Emmerich came on board, we have seen toxicity, backstabbing, double dealing, and putting out a DC movie that embarrasses Warner's rich traditional history and embarrasses us DC fans, and is a dagger in the heart to us Snyder fans. This is an auteur who, is proud, he's a perfectionist who takes his time, puts his films together to look and be and sound their very best. They compromised his movie, brought another director in to urinate on his movie with bright colours. As I say, it's one of the most disgusting episodes, but it went deeper than that. Because when we were hammering on their door and we'll get into the truth, thanks to, the smoke signals that Zach was sending us fans, they then tried to destabilise us with that Wall Street Journal article from Ben Fritz. Ben Fritz was going around, elite, YouTubers and social media people, fans who had a lot of followers, asking them for quotes and interviews. I remember Chris Wong-Svensson talking about this. And even Chris Wong-Svensson wasn't sure if he should be talking to them, but he thought if it builds up the hype for the Snyder Cut, he had to do it. And, I don't blame Chris for doing that. But ultimately, that was the lowest episode in the history of fighting for the Snyder Cut, because that's when we all thought this fight was gone. But that's what they wanted us to think. But Zach came back and we came back and we rose again. As I say, the history behind the Snyder Cut is as epic and as interesting and as fascinating as actually the film is itself, and it is one of those great movies. I would compare it to epics like the Ten Commandments, and Spartacus. It has that kind of aura around it. So as I say, I really hope this is true, everyone, but please take it with a pinch of salt. I brought it to you. This was the first thing I saw on Twitter this morning, and I normally go down my feed every morning, and that actually destabilized me a little bit because I couldn't think about anything else but that. So, yeah, definitely very exciting. So, we move on now to Henry Cavill, our Man of Steel, an actor who's been fighting for Superman ever since they decided to rest Superman. So, last year or the year before, there was an announcement that we were going to get a Ta-Nehisi Coates written and a J.J. Abrams produced Superman of Color movie, and Michael B. Jordan was doing a Val Zod Superman on HBO Max. We had a few updates in the past few years, or months or whatever. We haven't heard anything. We were told that by the end of this year, Ta-Nehisi Coates would hand in his first draft, which is a bit odd, really, because that means it took him a very, very, very long time to even do a first draft. It's odd because the truth of the matter, Ta-Nehisi Coates wasn't handing in a first draft on December. He was handing in a pitch. This was a J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates pitch. You see, when I heard J.J. Abrams was coming to Warner Brothers originally, I was very excited. A written and directed J.J. Abrams Superman movie would be awesome. But of course, I didn't know that he was going to race swap Kal-El. I didn't realize he was going to go that deep. Now, I was still excited because it's Superman. And, if it's a Calvin Ellis Superman of color, wow, how exciting would that be? But of course, because of their extreme left politics, they were planning on doing a race swap. Nobody was happy about that. I can now tell you with about 85% of certainty that Warner Brothers Pictures have rejected this pitch from Ta-Nehisi Coates and supported by J.J. Abrams. This Superman movie now will not be happening. I'm pretty sure about that. I still could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure about that. The Michael B. Jordan Val Zod thing I'm hearing also isn't happening. So Warner Brothers have rejected those pitches, or it could be Discovery who have said no. We have other plans because their plans are Henry Cavill. It's as simple as that. David Zaslav isn't a fool. All you have to do is go on Twitter for 5 minutes and know how much Henry Cavill is loved as Superman. Even the people who don't like his supes love him. So, even Henry's spoken about doing, an iconic Superman from the comic books, an inspiring Superman from the comic books. So I'm pretty sure with all certainty that Henry will return. But as I said, with DC, I was talking with the DC World account on Twitter, and I was saying we will need to be patient. Patience is needed. But Henry will return as the Man of Steel. I'm sure of it. What's odd to me, really, right? So Superman comes back in the Snyder Cut. Even though it's not totally canon, because there's a few different things to the other movies, still, you think about it, Superman has come back from the dead in Justice League, right? And the Snyder Cut. Why isn't he being referenced? Why didn't they reference him in Peacemaker, right? He's there in the shadows, in that Justice League cameo, yes. But shouldn't people be talking? Shouldn't Peacemaker characters or the TV behind the characters be saying, Superman has come back from the dead, and people are celebrating, or something? No mention. This is supposed to be, you know, a connective universe. Why not do that? How toxic are WB Pictures? Will Shazam even mention Superman coming back from the dead? Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Will Black Adam mention Superman coming back from the dead? I hope so, because even if we're not going to see Supes, we need this connective tissue. So DC live action is going to look very different. It's at least, hopefully, going to be run by competent people in the future. Now, again, I don't know what Discovery are going to do, and I really hope, everyone, that what I've just read you earlier on this video is true. I really do. There's nothing I want more. I am a supporter of Restore the Snyderverse, but beyond that, I'm a supporter of DC. I've been rewatching all the DCEU films. I got to Aquaman. I had my lights off. I had, this is a Dolby Atmos TV, so there's no better way of watching 4K UHD content than this TV. I put it on loud. And even though I always loved the film, I forgot how good Aquaman is. It's so compelling. It's so wonderful, but it's some of the most beautiful VFX I have ever seen. Someone compared it to the Avatar VFX. Yes, it is that fucking good. It's that amazing. I may actually re-watch Avatar, because it is a good film, because I haven't been really hyped. And maybe if I re-watch Avatar, maybe I can get some hype for that movie, because as you know, I love movies. I love this industry. I love the industry. I love the films. I love the filmmakers. It's a shame about all the bureaucrats behind the scenes. And so what I've spoken to you about today is, I've tried to say to you that be careful what you believe. I do believe that, by the way, mostly. At first it was like, oh, right, it's from, when you hear where it's from, you kind of think, oh. Because the problem is on that site, and I forgot its name now, and I mentioned it earlier, but it's like rolling a dice. You may get a double six, you may get a one. You just, you don't know, right? You just don't know. But there is a lot of stuff on there that comes out to be true. There was a lot of stuff about Wonder Woman 84 that turned out to be true. So you just don't know, really. But I do believe it. And if this is true, everyone, this is absolutely fantastic and the way to run Warner Brothers Pictures. Emma will do a great job because Toby Emmerich is all eager. So a few weeks ago when The Batman was released, he came out taking credit for the film's success, but it wasn't about keeping his job. He knows he's going to prospective employers. Look what I've done. A big successful movie. I brought in that director, right? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. As the head of the studio, maybe you did. Or maybe somebody else did. Or maybe it was Jeff Johns. Or maybe it was Hamada. We'll never really know, will we? But I think I'm pretty certain that Emmerich will be gone. And I really do believe, everyone, that it's important that he does go. Because once he goes, this house of cards falls forever. Because this is very important for Discovery and Zaslav. If they want a successful studio, because they've invested into this company, you cannot carry on how AT&T did. AT&T literally came in and said, yeah, business as usual. What a fucking mistake. They thought they could greenlight the Snyder Cut without WB Pictures interference. They are gangsters. They lied about Jason Momoa doing a Frosty movie because they were under pressure. And Momoa had to come out and say, this is bullshit, man. These were ridiculous times. And this would have been, as I say, within the eye shot and earshot of Discovery, who are not used to this bullshit. You know, these people, you know, run nature channels, you know, and reality television channels. You know, everyone's on the same team and wants to put out the best product. They're not used to this. So Zaslav will not want to work within this environment. But at the time, I did criticise Zack and Ray Fisher for being so negative about WB Pictures because I felt it was hurting the chances of restoring the Snyderverse. But now I'm going to apologise to both of them because I think what they were actually doing was the right thing. Because as I say, all this was in the earshot of Discovery. And even if it wasn't official at the time that Discovery were merging with AT&T, Zack and Ray would have already known this. When you're fighting a war, you have to take certain tactics. And maybe they're not the most moral tactics, but at the end of the day, if we restore the Snyderverse, if Discovery restore the Snyderverse, if we get this DC Studios and we all of a sudden have a great franchise and great self-contained movies and, you know, universes, self-contained universes, and we are the envy of everyone, and all of a sudden people are talking about DC and not Marvel, who are not the real fucking deal. It's just a fucking trend. That's all Marvel are. And, you know, their ship is sinking. And, you know, say what you want about DC, but they've been making great films since I was a small boy, right? Superman and Superman 2, you know, are great superhero movies, right? Batman 89 and Batman Returns are great movies, etc., etc. For me, DC has got better movies than Marvel have ever been made. And let's not forget, the Iron Man movie was not the first superhero movie ever made, like Feige, Disney and Marvel Studios would like you to believe. No. Superman the movie, a DC movie distributed by WB Pictures, was the first ever superhero movie. And it's my belief it's still not only one of the best superhero pictures ever made, but one of the best pictures ever made. This film was being made in 75, 76 to release in 78. This was directed by Dick Donner. He had no CGI VFX. Everything was done within the camera. Yes, they had a few effects houses where they could do their magic, but mostly it was all in the camera. They had to come up with new techniques to make a man fly. And even now, he looks pretty awesome when he's flying. So this is what WB and DC have achieved, right? Disney buy things. Disney buy Lucasfilm. Disney buy Marvel Studios. Disney, the things that Disney created was their beautiful animated movies. And they were great. But they got greedy and they had, you know, what's his name? Bob Iger come in. And he was ambitious and he did this. And it's great because they own all these things. But ultimately, Disney has become the very, I think, the antithesis of what the actual Walt Disney would have wanted. Walt Disney was a lover of animals. That's why he animated them. That's why he has Snow White conversing with the animals in that beautiful animated movie. But what Disney has become now is ugly, too big for its boots. No one should ever become as big as Disney. So Warner Brothers and DC are the underdogs, and I fucking love an underdog. But that's not the only reason I support them. I support them because I love these DC characters. Yesterday when I was watching Aquaman, I was cheering, crying, clapping. That moment when Mera and Aquaman kiss for the first time is so fucking beautiful and emotional. I don't care if you hate Amber Heard. I'm not going to put her up for a Nobel Peace Prize, but she's a fucking awesome Mera. And for me, it's all about what's in the movie, what's on the screen. I don't care if she's a shitty person. Now, if you ask my personal opinion about her relationship with Johnny, I think they're both fucking nut jobs and they both should have seen, you know, went to seek counselling. And I think they should both just forget all the legal action and go and seek counselling. But that's up to them. I don't care. Amber Heard's a great Mera. So there's so much to be proud of within the DC universe, both on television, with icons like Smallville and all the films we have had. Yes, they've made mistakes. Human beings do that. But I think we've got an even more exciting future to come with Warner Brothers Pictures Discovery, Motion Pictures Discovery. I believe what we read here is true, but I ask you, please, I beg you, be patient until all this is official. This has been Saturday's edition of the DCEU Daily here on Movies TV Mad. I'm your host with the most, Mick. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. They love what I've got. Anyway, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you again tonight when I'm live. Until then, goodbye, au revoir. I'll be the same. See you again soon. See you when I'm live.